PGV is an internal startup studio within Procter & Gamble, and our purpose is to be able to partner with entrepreneurs who have great ideas within the key categories or spaces that we're looking to work in.
You know, as we work with entrepreneurs, one thing that P&G Ventures brings is all the infrastructure that comes around with P&G. Everything from supply chains to R&D, regulatory, branding, communication, endorsements, things like that, because we have been around 180 years across many, many categories, we have a lot of relationships and a lot of skill base. And making that accessible to entrepreneurs is really where we think the magic happens.
Procter had all of the capability necessary, this deep and comprehensive expertise in doing this consumer product development. And so one of the things that happened in this partnership is they were able to help us understand where are the gaps. We as a team started to recognize the gaps, and then they leaned in with intense level of expertise to start to fill those gaps.
PGV brought in so many great resources for us, and they just supported us through the whole thing. They had specialists that knew exactly what to do. It was really incredible, and it just took everything to a whole new level, somewhere we didn't think we'd ever get.
There's a lot of stuff that we've learned how to do well because we're great at it or just because we failed at it. And there's a ton of things that entrepreneurs just shouldn't have to learn if they've got the right partner. When it comes to filing patents, when it comes to regulatory navigation, when it comes to how do you sell into a Home Depot or a Target, that's stuff that we do every day.
Well, without partnership, I don't think we could achieve changing the market. It's just not marketing and getting into retail, and it's just not technology that really works and solves a consumer problem. It's the marriage of the two.
One thing I love about this job is watching dreams come true for entrepreneurs. They have passion and energy, and they are determined to solve a problem for a consumer. And a lot of the issue sometimes is the how. And being able to see the products on shelf and see it in Target and Walmart or online, seeing those dreams come alive for those entrepreneurs and for P&G Ventures together as a partner, that makes for a good day.
I'm Lauren Thaman, and I lead communications for P&G Ventures. P&G Ventures is an early-stage startup studio within Procter & Gamble, and we have invited entrepreneurs, inventors, and startups to submit a product pitch for the first ever virtual challenge. As entrepreneurs and startups grapple with the effect of this novel coronavirus, P&G Ventures remains committed to equipping them with the resources, expertise, and guidance needed to continue developing their ventures. The Virtual Innovation Challenge provides entrepreneurs with the opportunity to share their ideas on a larger platform during these uncertain times. This challenge, now in its third iteration, seeks budding entrepreneurs who are driving the next generation of technologies that will change consumers' lives and help fuel innovation amongst this global pandemic. For this challenge, we leveraged the Kite SRM platform, an operating system to help identify, recruit, evaluate, and select these finalists. These 3 finalists presenting today were selected among hundreds of applications. The winner will receive $10,000 from P&G Ventures, the chance to partner with P&G Ventures, and admission to the Brandery Accelerator that includes $100,000 among many, many other benefits. Please stick around during the judges' deliberation as we caught up with Tristan Walker earlier this week. He's the CEO of Walker & Company, to get his thoughts on entrepreneurship and partnership. With that, I'd like to introduce the judges. Our first judge is Leigh Radford. Leigh is the vice president and founder of P&G Ventures. Leigh has over 20 years of brand experience within P&G. She's an experienced business leader who led strategic and creative and international expansion of brands across categories, including skincare, personal care, and oral care. She's a talent for taking small ideas with promise and turning them into proven global brand success. Thank you, Leigh. With that, I'd like to introduce Julie Setzer. Julie Setzer is our VP of R&D, Research and Development for P&G Ventures. Julie also has over 20 years of Procter & Gamble and research and development experience, including innovation capability, pet care, and hair care. She is known as an innovation strategist, ideator, and for her consumer research expertise. Thank you, Julie. Lastly, I'd like to introduce Pete Blackshaw. Pete is the CEO of Cintrifuse, the syndicated venture fund, innovation catalyst, and startup community that's making Greater Cincinnati the #1 startup hub in the Midwest, among other top innovation hubs in the nation. Pete came to Cintrifuse in November 2018 from Nestle, where he was Vice President of Digital Innovation and Service Models. Before Nestle, Pete served as CMO of NM Insight, a joint venture between Nielsen and McKinsey. Earlier, he co-founded Procter & Gamble's digital marketing organization and then left P&G to launch planetfeedback.com, one of the first web's consumer feedback portals. P&G draws heavily on his experience as both a corporate leader and entrepreneur to make things happen. Thank you, Pete. With that, I'd like to introduce our first finalist, Chris Frangakist. Chris is a PhD, President and Chief Executive Officer of Achelios Therapeutics. He has over 25 years experience of pharmaceutical research and development, licensing, and business development. He led the discovery and development of several cardiovascular and other drugs at various pharma companies. And he earlier was responsible for pharmaceutical licensing and corporate development. Chris is an author of over 70 publications published in several scientific journals. Thank you, Chris.
Hi, my name is Chris Frangakis. I'm the CEO and founder of Achelios Therapeutics. This is Tony. Tony is a poultry farmer. He loves fishing and was looking forward to his retirement when he would be able to go fishing with his grandkids. Tony developed arthritis in his hands and suffered from a nagging back pain. He's also a little overweight and has hypertension. His hopes for a beautiful retirement with his family are now in question. His options were very limited. A friend of mine was Tony's physician for many years. He discussed the options that Tony had to treat his chronic pain, which included non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs such as ibuprofen, opioids such as OxyContin, antidepressants, tranquilizers, and local injections of anesthetics and steroids. The long-term use of these medications comes with significant side effects. Tony and his physician decided to look for an alternative solution. This is when his doctor recommended that he may want to try an experimental treatment that Achelios was working on. You see, chronic pain is the #1 cause of disability in the United States, with an annual economic impact of $635 million. Approximately 100 million Americans suffer with chronic pain, and 1 in 10 Americans has pain every day. Chronic pain affects more patients than diabetes, heart disease, and cancer combined. Since you do not need to expose the whole body to treat a particular organ or tissue, we develop a delivery platform to provide permeation of drugs across the skin. We prepare topical formulations of the NSAIDs diclofenac and ketoprofen for the treatment of mild to severe pain in acute and chronic. Our formulations are patented, provide maximum skin permeation. We achieve this by modifying the ionic charges of the drug, facilitating the movement across the layers of the skin to the tissue in need. Unlike other topical drugs, there is no skin irritation or hypersensitivity. In a recent clinical study, we demonstrated that patients with moderate pain successfully treated the pain after application of our gel twice a day. Also, they stopped the use of prescribed OxyContin to treat the breakthrough pain. These patients were pain-free and opioid-free during the study. Recently, FDA gave approval to GSK to switch the marketing of Voltaren gel from prescription to the OTC. Voltaren is the brand of the topical NSAID, sodium diclofenac. Since diclofenac is a generic drug, the FDA has given guidance as to what is needed to receive marketing approval in the U.S. We are on track to complete these studies by 2022 and plan to submit the NDA and secure the OTC in the same timeframe. We aim to show that our product has superior efficacy, better safety, and dosing requirements. In comparison to Voltaren gel, our formulation is patented, shows enhanced drug permeation with rapid and sustained drug delivery and lower dosing requirements. It has no degradation on sun exposure. It's not oily, and we are pursuing additional indications such as back pain. Voltaren gel is, of course, the lead in the market at this time, but we hope that we'll be able to match their performance. At $24 billion, the pharmaceutical market of chronic pain is huge. The US market is approximately $11 billion. The chronic pain market will continue to grow globally in the foreseeable future. It is expected to grow to $38 billion, with the topical pain market in the United States reaching $4 billion. After trying the product that the doctor recommended, Tony's life took a turn for the better. Application of Achelios gel once a day provided him with the relief that he was looking for. Since 2016, he was continue using the therapy and now goes fishing with his grandson and is looking for a wonderful retirement. Thank you.
Some questions. Why don't we start with Julie Setzer?
Hi, Chris. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon.
Hey, my question is about the regulatory path that you described. You talked about getting OTC concurrence simultaneously with FDA approval of this drug. Can you talk a little bit more about your strategy for achieving that and what you see as potential issues or barriers that you might have to address with the FDA on that?
In about 2-3 months to confirm our strategy, but our strategy is essentially the following. The FDA has given a guidance as to what is necessary to get approval for the new generic product, which this is, and essentially it requires a pharmacokinetic analysis in patients, plus a very extensive phase 2 study that looks at the dosing requirement and also demonstrates the superiority of the product, or at least that the product is equivalent to Voltaren gel. So that's our approach, and that is the approach that we're taking, but we will confirm with the FDA. Obviously, the first thing that you need to get is you need to get approval for the drug, and subsequently you request for introduction of the drug as an OTC, since the other drug, since Voltaren gel has already been approved as an OTC product, we don't see much difficulty in that respect.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions? Leigh?
Yeah. Hey, hi, Chris. This is Leigh. Nice job.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Can you tell me a little bit how you're thinking about your pricing strategy, especially relative to competition, as well as potential additional indications or pipeline that you're seeing?
Yes. The pricing strategy, the way we look at it is this is not a very expensive product to make. Our pricing strategy obviously will depend on our commercial partner, whoever is going to be marketing this. But I see this as going to the market with the same cost as Voltaren gel currently charges, which is about $10 per 30 gram tube. So there is plenty. Actually, a 30 gram tube, the net cost of goods in a 30 gram tube is roughly about $1.4 per tube. So there's plenty space here. The next indications that we are looking at, we'll be looking at potential use in back pain, which Voltaren gel doesn't have. Strains and sprains. Strains is another indication that we would like to pursue. And finally, we actually have filed a patent for the use of NSAIDs in combination with cannabinoids as topical for the treatment of inflammatory pain. So there's a number of things that we can explore with diclofenac. And it's essentially, I think it's more or less limitless as long as you actually have a study that demonstrates its efficacy.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that, Chris. It was excellent. And with that, I'd like to introduce our next finalist, Sarah Hill. Sarah Hill is the CEO of Helium, a virtual and augmented reality tool, the self-management of stress powered by the user's own brainwaves and heart rate. After 20 years as a TV reporter covering trauma, her media diet of reporting the day's headlines ultimately made her sick. Hill developed Helium for herself as well as the other 41 million others who struggle with anxiety. Thank you, Sarah.
Helium is a drugless, fast-acting stress relief product powered by your body's electricity. Stress is the 21st century epidemic, and post-pandemic, calls to mental health hotlines have more than doubled. With the rising rate of opioid deaths, people are searching for drugless solutions to quickly downshift their nervous systems and self-regulate their anxiety. Hi, I'm Sarah Hill. I'm the CEO of Helium. 10 years ago, as a television news reporter, stress made me sick. I was covering a lot of trauma and suddenly started having panic attacks and an inability to sleep. I didn't want to take medication, so I developed Helium for me, as well as the 41 million other people who struggle with their anxiety. This is the Stress Olympics, and not everyone has trained for it. But how can we control our stress if we can't see it or interact with it? Helium allows you to see your stress by harnessing the power of your biometric data via consumer wearables to bring your own brain patterns and heart rate to life inside virtual and augmented reality. Our product is in the market right now. On the left side of the screen is augmented reality just on your mobile device. Plug in your smartwatch and lower your heart rate to make butterflies fly around the room. Or with a brain-sensing headband, use your feelings of focus to float up the side of a waterfall in virtual reality. Inside VR, that firefly glowing at the bottom of the screen is a representation of the fast activity or the high beta activity in your brain. If you quiet your mind, the flurries fly inside a magic snow globe. You're teaching yourself to self-regulate your stress. Our experiences work with or without a wearable. If you're not using a wearable, the experiences automatically play. Even without VR goggles, you can open up a magic portal in your living room and be transported away from your stress on a virtual vacation. Press a button and you're teleported to another magical kingdom. Helium isn't just beautiful nature-based escapes. It's an evidence-based intervention. In 3 peer-reviewed journals, Helium's been shown to significantly reduce anxiety in as little as 4 minutes. The red color is the fast activity in the brain immediately before Helium, and just 4 minutes after, you can see how it goes away. This is a virtual walk in the park for times when we can't take a real walk in the park. Less than $1 a day gets you a base of 25 experiences, new content added every 60 days, video curriculum, and a data dashboard so you can track your brain patterns and heart rate over time. You can get Helium on the iOS, Android, and Oculus stores. We have monthly consumer and yearly enterprise licenses. Here's where we need P&G's help. Stress is responsible for up to 60% of all illness, yet there's nothing you can get at your local drugstore that allows you to self-manage your own anxiety. We dream of a day when you can go to your local retailer to the digiceuticals aisle, buy a Helium passport, and download our mental health hygiene product right to your mobile device. Helium's end users are 157 million stressed consumers. We reach them via enterprises like their workplace, school, or mental health therapist. This from a Helium customer, a mom whose daughter totaled her car. She says she was having a full-blown panic attack. I will be forever grateful for your app. It's the best $4.99 I've ever spent, and the whole world needs to know about it. Stress management in the U.S. alone is a $55 billion market, with 157 million consumers reporting significant stress even before COVID. If we look at smartwatch users alone, that's a service addressable market of $15 billion in annual recurring revenue. Helium is involved in a dozen trials around the world for everything from insomnia to labor pain to addiction. We have 3 patents, 1 fully issued and 2 provisional patents. Our experiences have been viewed more than 7 million times. Helium is in use by more than 40 enterprises around the world. corporations, government entities like hospitals for nurses and physician compassion fatigue, and schools and universities for student stress. Helium is the world's first VR-ceutical powered by consumer wearables. If another entity wants to modify immersive media content with a biometric input, they'll need to license our IP. We're different from a 2D meditation app because our experiences are actively controlled. Why Helium, P&G? We found a drugless solution to a $300 billion profit and people killer. Help us help the world heal with Helium, fast-acting stress relief in as little as 4 minutes.
Now I'm going to turn back over to the judges for questions. Pete, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, thank you very much. Question for me is, how have you thought differently about your business model in the last few months in the light of the crisis? For example, have you assigned a higher weighting to enterprise versus consumer sales, given that employers today are looking for solutions with employee stress?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So COVID has changed our thinking in a variety of ways. So let me outline 3 of them. Number 1, not everyone has a virtual reality headset, right? So we had to really lean into our augmented reality products that allow users to bring in those holograms just on their mobile device. Number 2, this is the stress Olympics, and not everyone is trained for it. People are in their homes, they're sheltering in place, they're not able to get into their workplace. So we've really seen an outreach from employee assistance programs reaching out to us, asking for these solutions that they can provide their employees who are sheltering in place. And because our solution requires no hardware, it's easy to deploy to some of those areas. Definitely an emphasis on reaching those stressed consumers via their enterprises, and not just workplace wellness programs, any area of confined stress that they might go to, whether that be their school, their blood clinic. Helium's been used at the American Red Cross to allow people to escape the anxiety of a needle stick. Again, reaching those stressed consumers via those enterprises. And certainly in the aftermath of COVID, more than 60% of the population, just in the US, reports significant stress. And so to have a drugless solution that can quickly downshift the nervous system and in as little as 4 minutes is what was valuable before COVID. And now post-COVID, with calls to mental health hotlines doubling, there is a renewed focus on mental health now and going forward in the future, not only for those enterprises, but for those consumers as well.
Thank you.
Sarah, Leigh or Julie, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, quick question. You talked about your patent protection and that others would have to license from you. Can you describe the protection that you have?
About 1 minute, Sarah.
Sure. So on a high level, our fully issued patent, we have 1 fully issued patent and 2 provisionals that are pending. So what that patent allows you to do is modify virtual mixed augmented reality content with a biometric input, brain waves, heart rate, skin conductance, and the future blood pressure. That patent has been then applied to be secured in Europe, in China, and in Hong Kong as well. So what you're seeing right now with people using traditional meditation, Helium is very different than traditional meditation. We think of it as a VR-ceutical, an AR-ceutical. And the reasons why it's different is this is not a flat 2D meditation app. It is immersive. It's all around you. There is a lot of research showing that virtual and augmented reality are more emotionally engaging, they're more memorable, and they have more of an effect on the stress reactions in your brain compared to regular 2D flat media. So with our IP protection, it is allowing you to actively control the experience. You're not just passively watching it as the back seat of a vehicle. You're actually in the front seat of the car, powering that media with your thoughts and emotions. So for instance, if you quiet your mind, that experience moves forward. it's reacting. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was really excellent, and we appreciate your thoughts. So lastly, I'd like to turn it over to our last finalist. I'd like to introduce Patricia French, the founder of Meopos. Patricia has over 30 years of beauty industry experience. She launched the first cosmetic and skincare line of beauty products for women of color, Gazelle Cosmetics, in Paris in 1983. Patricia is the author of a self-published 21st Century Guide for Women of Color, The Exposed Beauty for a New Color of Women, as well as performed a consulting capacity of several globally recognized cosmetic and skincare companies. Welcome to Patricia.
Hello, my name is Patricia French. I am CEO of Meopos lifestyle brand. Be beautiful, be timeless, be ageless. With Meopos lifestyle products, the transition to menopause and postmenopause. I created Menopause because I knew there had to be a better way to function during menopause. As a specialist in beauty products, R&D, and with 23 years experience working in Paris with companies including Gazelle Beauty, L'Oreal, and Estee Lauder, I set out to create a graceful menopausal experience without the harsh side effects and after effects. Let's look deeper into the problem. 84% of women say menopausal symptoms interferes with their daily life. 58% of postmenopausal women suffers from vaginal dryness into their 70s. Hot flashes, night sweats, dryness, insomnia, and other direct and indirect menopausal symptoms makes it hard for women to focus and keep a functional lifestyle. 2 million women each year transition to menopause in the US. On an average, women endure menopausal symptoms up to 7 years from finish to start. Women of color experience harsher symptoms that often stay with them into their late 60s. For years, big pharmas have promoted one pill, one cream, one patch to treat, cure, and heal everything menopausal. The solution is to target the symptoms so that women can move through life with confidence. Meopos 13 products are formulated using phytonutrient and phytoestrogen plant-based structured hormones to resemble the body's natural hormones. Meopos products are feminine care for vaginal comfort care, eliminating embarrassing odors, products that temper hot flashes and night sweats. Our product line includes a cream for dehydrated itchy skin, an age control gel for premature aging skin brought on to bear as side effects due to collagen and sebum loss during hot flashes and night sweats. We also have 5 flavors of post-instant soup that helps to nourish the metabolic system and therefore induce weight control. All products are ready for market. Women are thrilled over Meopos products coming to market. The comments are of praise to finally have a healthy alternate to HRT products. Women who have tried Meopos products say, women at a gathering love the touch and freshness of the products. At My Mommy Paws said, the instant soups are delicious, noting that the fennel taste and how fennel is an aid for vaginal dryness. In 2019, we recruited 50 women of different nationalities between the age of 40 and 65 for a product trial. In 2019 in Montreal, we interviewed over 100 women to sign up and share what they are seeking in menopausal products and how they feel about the plant-based products. Meopos product value propositions are safe, non-toxic products, no side effects, no after effects, as does with big pharma HRT drugs that targets the problem, not the symptoms. Meopos products are formulated to follow women through 3 stages of menopause. Perimenopausal with preventive care, menopause with maintenance care, and postmenopausal with comfort care. Meopos worldwide, by 2025, there will be 1.2 billion women experiencing different symptoms depending on the geographical locations and lifestyle. There are 43 million menopausal women in the US as of 2020, and 6,000 women transition into menopause daily. Our opportunity is clear. With 1.5% market share by 2023, Menopause project revenue of $88 million. The US menopausal treatment is projected to reach $3.3 billion by 2023. By 2025, the global market is approximately $131 billion, including all treatments and menopause treatments. Our business model is simple. It's to partner with women lifestyle and wellness brick and mortar stores and launch menopause.com to sell directly to users. menopause will be premium quality, premium image, premium affordable with a retail price from $26 to $65. The company is currently seeking a partnership with venture partners and aim to launch Meopos e-commerce late 2020 and enter into a brick and mortar late spring 2021. The company is seeking an opportunity for an IP on plant-based biomimic hormones compound. P&G cares about improving the lives of women, of all women. We together can improve the quality of women's life globally and make Meopos the next billion-dollar brand addressing all menopausal direct and indirect symptoms. Let's help women be beautiful, ageless, and timeless during all three stages. Thank you very much for your time.
Now I'd like to turn it back over to the judges for any questions. Leigh, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, hi Patricia. Thank you very much. Can you talk a little bit more about Can you talk a little bit more about your hero, what hero you're seeing within your 13 product lineup, and how does that hero compare to other products that are out there maybe in the market today?
I'm sorry, did you say hero?
Yeah, your product hero, your product hero, which is of your lineup, which is the one that you believe is your star product?
You know, Leigh, I believe that the poached soups, the instant poached soup will be a hero because they're proteins and calcium soups that helps women to weight control. And weight control is one of the key problems with women that are menopausal. And given that it fits into a woman's daily lifestyle in terms of helping her also to calm hot flashes and night sweats and vagina dryness. And also it helps to control weight. I do believe that that's probably the hero. The second would be a match between that and the feminine care products, as women have a huge problem with vagina odor and vaginal dryness and painful intercourse, which is a lead on by the dryness of the vagina.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hi, Patricia, it's Julie.
Hi, Julie.
You mentioned that you're seeking some IP on your botanical-based solution. Can you talk a little bit more about that, what you see as the patentable opportunity there?
Well, I see there are two possibilities, Leigh. Julie. There's one with the poached soups, which I think that we have a great chance of a IP there with instant poached soups, which no one has ever done them before. And then the way we dehydrate the poached in order to bring them back, and also the compound in which we use is sort of our secret ingredients, and the way that we mix the two. And also we have a possibility of an IP with the biomimic plant-based restructure of hormones that resembles the hormones in the body in order to help to strengthen them, to strengthen women during menopause.
Pete,
thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Pete, do you have anything?
No. Well, maybe just a little bit around just, how you're thinking about marketing strategy from a, dialing up your positioning, leveraging, advocates. You obviously bring a huge amount of experience and passion about the product. How have you thought about, really kind of getting this out to market, including in an e-commerce context?
Well, our strategy is to launch late fall this year, is to launch Meopos through Meopos.com as our first step in getting it out to the market, and then working relationships with chains such as wellness groups as GNC, women lifestyle stores such as Ulta, Blue Mercury, and others, Sephora's and others, to get into brick and mortar in 2021.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I really would like to thank Chris from Achelios Therapeutics, Sarah from Helium, and Patricia from Meopos Lifestyles for those excellent presentations. Now I'm going to invite the judges to go off and deliberate. They'll go into a silent space, and they're going to determine the winner of the pitch based on some predetermined criteria. With that, I will invite you to join us while we listen to Tristan Walker. Leigh Radford caught up with him earlier this week, and he gave us his thoughts on entrepreneurship and partnership.
Hi, this is Leigh Radford. I'm the Vice President of P&G Ventures. I'm thrilled to be introducing today Tristan Walker to join us in a conversation. Probably doesn't need any introduction. Tristan is the founder CEO of Walker & Company, 2013, founded and created products with a focus on people of color, known for your flagship and beautiful brand, Bevel. Tristan, it is great to have you part of this P&G family. It's great to be talking to you again, and love that we're sharing this with the broader entrepreneurs out there who hopefully one day are dreaming in a similar situation to be partnering and expanding their businesses with a multinational like P&G.
Totally.
So welcome.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here, and it's great to kind of come full circle from the time we started speaking a couple of years ago to see us here. It's a lot of fun to kind of get together again.
So for those who don't already know, what is the Walker & Company and P&G story? So give us the background.
Yeah. So Walker & Company, our mission is to make health and beauty simple for people of color. I wanted to develop a suite of brands, a family of brands aimed at solving unique problems that folks of color had, right? As you mentioned, our flagship brand is the brand Bevel, known for being the first and only end-to-end shaving system designed to help reduce issues related to razor bumps and irritation. We started that brand in June of 2013. Fast forward, 3 or so years later, we launched our second brand, Form Beauty, personalized hair care for women with textured hair. And about a year after that, we started to get to know Procter & Gamble. It was very clear that our values aligned, which is very important to me. We were speaking to a number of folks, but P&G really stuck out because of that values alignment. We started the first meeting in June, July. We really started to have a serious conversation in August. We said we wanted to work together in September, and then we closed and announced in December. So it was a pretty fast process.
So it's been 2 years since the acquisition. What's the biggest difference you're seeing in leading Walker & Company today compared to before?
P&G has an interesting memo-based culture, right? Everything is written down. It's very structured, right? And a lot of people might think about that as bureaucracy, but because we are kind of somewhat separate, right? We get to learn about a lot of the good things that P&G does. And we can apply a lot of the good things that we do, and we get to learn through osmosis. So there's a couple things. Number one, it was the first time I ever did a 3-year strategic plan, right? As a startup founder, you didn't know if you were going to have money in 6 to 12 months, right? So 3-year strategic plan, that's insane, right? So it's nice to know that we can actually be thoughtful about it. One thing I tell a lot of folks as a startup CEO, I would spend 60, 70% of my time thinking about the next round of financing, and 20% on recruiting and 10% on product, right? Now I get to spend pretty much all of my time on the product, right? Which is the strategic planning, distribution, among other things, which is cool, right? It's a complete difference, but that requires strategic thinking. Also the encouragement of writing things down. This is something that I've personally always done, but I'm able now to kind of push it throughout the organization so we can have a structured approach that holds each of us accountable to what we want. 3, P&G is wildly profitable. And it's a way of leading a business that's different than what I've been used to and what a lot of other folks have been used to. And profits are cool, right? And it's interesting that now we've acquired that discipline to know what needs to be true in order to kind of hit those profitable goals. It's not without its, frustration sometimes, right? Growth mindset versus growth profitable mindset, right? And making choices and considerations therein. But I think I've up-leveled my ability to lead in those ways in a significant way, and to be able to focus on the product
As you know, P&G Ventures is a startup studio within P&G. And our mission is to really partner with entrepreneurs like yourself in new and different ways. And partnership can be in a lot of different forms. So what would you tell those entrepreneurs out there, and some of them, watching the Innovation Challenge today, about partnering with P&G in new ways, and the pros and cons?
P&G has very structured, long-term relationships with Targets and Walmarts and, a slew of kind of retailers that exist. And our ability to align ourselves with their 3-year strategic plans, with the other brands. We would go in and kind of pitch ourselves, but it's another thing to be able to pitch ourselves with, right? So I think it's learning, and it took us, I think, a year to realize that was a process that actually happens, So one thing is not knowing what you don't know. Having the relationship to, go and get nationwide doorstep at a retailer sounds wonderful, but you might not be ready for it. And we've had our kind of aches and pains, but also our triumphs kind of in that learning too. We closed the deal and we announced it December 12th, 2018. I had a conversation with Alex Keith, CEO of Beauty, December 13th, 2018. She said, Tristan, I think it would be cool if Bevel built this kind of mega brand, which pretty much means that, we were in shaving and a couple skincare products at the time. What if we kind of expanded our line to like body and hair and all that stuff? Is it something that you're interested in? I said, yeah. We started in earnest in March. And then in January, we launched 11 new products, right? We 15x'd our distribution, right? So it goes to show you that you can get it if you get the synergies right.
So a lot of lessons I can only assume you've learned in the relationship over the last 2 years, but I'm going to have you dig into a couple areas in particular. The first is, what have you learned about leadership?
I've had to build a capacity for empathy that I had never had before. And I say this, the up-leveling of that capacity just in the past 12 weeks, right? Naturally, with COVID-19, issues pertaining to kind of racism that we're all seeing, and recognizing that while, I have a group of folks who are overwhelmingly majority representative of the folks who are disproportionately impacted by these things, I have to be empathetic to, and acknowledge that trauma, but also acknowledge that even outside of those things, people are grieving in their own ways, right? Folks have personal lives, right? Personal connections, right? That impacts how they are when they show up to work in the midst of all this crazy, and I've had to just build that capacity for empathy. Without realizing it, right? It's something that's almost had to become intrinsic, and I've had to learn how to grieve better. I've had to learn how to be less by the book objective. And this is already coming from a starting place of providing empathy, but I've had to build it to the capacity and expand that.
You highlighted a little bit, but on innovation, what have you learned differently about innovation? Kind of pre and post.
So the interesting thing about P&G is it's such a scale that it's like, you guys know, kind of consumer needs immediately in an interesting way. Like everything that started with Walker & Company was off gut. And because we represented the audience that we served and we were users of our products, we knew that we were right? So it's just an interesting difference, right? Because there's not only the representation thing, but there's also the process by which you get to the answer. And the kind of collision of those two things together has been actually really interesting, right? And I'd always say before the acquisition, by the time you're reading a research report, it's almost too late. Like that's the kind of Silicon Valley-ness of it. So I'm trying to learn how to combine those two things together in a way that could be super productive and not be late. Perfect example, Bevel. No one would have ever said that there is a consumer need for Black men to have single blade, double edged razors in their stores. You would have read a research report. It would have said the market for that is like a couple $100 million. The market for shaving overall is in the billions of dollars. And the question that I would always ask is, why is the market so small? Perhaps the market's so small is because brands haven't given them what they needed, right? Yeah. And there's probably billions of dollars behind that consumer need. But because we recognize that in our own kind of intrinsic intuition, right, being consumers, we're able to kind of step forward and guide that. And I wonder how many of those kinds of opportunities exist before the research reports are actually baked.
So in your opinion, some partnerships work and some partnerships don't. Why is that? What advice do you give to entrepreneurs on how do you know when it's the right partnership?
It's very simple. I mean, as I mentioned a little earlier, P&G knows exactly what I'm trying to get out of this, right? In terms of like the platform and the impact that we try to have, and the fact that we want something that's around 150 years from now, right? I was very clear about that. They're clear about the autonomy, that sort of thing. And they said, okay. So my expectation is that, that contract of sorts is honored. My contract to them is to build a company that does that profitably and scalably. And as far as I fulfill that contract, the relationship continues, right? And I say this, it's important because there's a lot of subjectivity that a lot of folks talk about as it relates to kind of what partnership means, but you really got to get to the heart of the objectivity. P&G is, $80+ billion revenue company for a reason, right? Because they build things that succeed. I have to build something that succeeds.
So what's the next big thing for Walker and Company?
Look, we are 15 times the number of doors that we were in beforehand. So we need to, as I mentioned, make the business work. It's not enough to just be in those doors, let it sit and hope for the best. I mean, we need to make those doors productive. We need to make the customers, retailers excited to have us. It's time for us now to make our brands famous at the company that will allow us to get there in a sustainable way without having to worry about what I had to do before this, which was returning the dollars within a very short period of time. My investors at the time, a 10-year time horizon for a 150-year vision. Yeah. And that leads to interesting board conversations, right? So be thoughtful about that, right? Because that tension creates unnecessary headspace when you could just be focused on product.
Well, Tristan, from the first time we met, you truly do build beautiful brands and beautiful brands that matter. And so I personally, we are so thrilled to have you in this P&G family and thrilled to be learning from you as an entrepreneur, as I've always believed the biggest breakthroughs are going to come from the best of entrepreneurs and the best of P&G, and you're a testament to that. So I just wanted to thank you for spending time with us and being in this family and building the brands that you are and the person you are. So it is such a pleasure.
I'm thankful for the opportunity, and I'm hopeful that we will realize all of the things that set us on this kind of partnership. Yeah. So I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Tristan. That was wonderful. Now, I know everybody's waiting with bated breath, so I'm going to turn this over to Leigh Radford and the judges, and they will share who the winner is.
Hello, everybody. It was, first of all, a fantastic job from all the participants and finalists. It was really great to see what you guys are creating and the problems you're trying to solve for today's consumers. As we deliberated, there were strengths across all. Your presentations were very, very strong. But with any, there's always just one winner. And the one winner that we would like to announce today, a big congratulations to Sarah Hill with Helium. Yay!
Yay! Thank you.
So Well, Sarah, let me just say a few words of what we loved. First of all, this is a whole new space. I mean, you kept talking about the digiceuticals, and I love that you had the vision and passion of even how you see that, translating to consumer shelf with the idea of passports. I love the business model and how you're thinking about it, both enterprise as well as direct to consumer. And it's just, and I thought your IP was very interesting of how you are looking to ensure that connection interaction is secured for your business. So, always a hard decision across all, but we really want to congratulate you for being the winner of the first ever virtual challenge within P&G Ventures, and look forward to continuing to see how you advance your business. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, and my very best to Patricia and Chris, who had awesome presentations. And we have so many more ways that we want to play with P&G that I couldn't mention them. So that conversation to be continued. Thank you for the opportunity that you give us entrepreneurs to share. So we're excited about the future of digiceuticals.
Thank you so much, Sarah. That's super exciting, and congratulations again, Sarah, for being the winner. But I also want to congratulate Chris from Achelios Therapeutics and Patricia of Meopos Lifestyles for some excellent work and excellent presentations. Very exciting. I'd like to thank our judges, Pete Blackshaw from Cintrifuse, and then Leigh Radford and Julie Setzer, both from P&G Ventures, for their time and effort in putting this together, as well as many others. But I want to thank you for joining us here today. Please continue to follow us on P&G Ventures Studio on LinkedIn or at PGV Studio on Twitter to hear more about what we're up to and for our next innovation challenge. Thank you for joining us today.